Okay, let's get going on another Zen Fit. The title of this talk is The Last Boom of the Boomers. A lot of the pictures of the No King's Day showed baby boomers, the people over 60. And I taught these people in the 60s in the high school. I was during 1968. I was teaching 11th grade, and this was the baby boomers, and right from the start, right there, the baby boomers divided into two antithetical groups. I was teaching in Northern Virginia, Loudoun County. And when the Pledge of Allegiance came, some of the students refused to stand up. Others did. So patriotism was divided in the 60s, particularly by the Vietnam War and civil rights, but particularly by the Vietnam War. It was patriotic to go to war, do your duty for God's sake. And also it was patriotic to follow your conscience. And don't fight in an immoral war, you see. So patriotism was split and wounded. And the Vietnam Memorial, is a living example of that wound. It's still bleeding. People go there, leave flowers. People are still bleeding over the wound that won't heal. And this wound that won't heal started in the 60s with the baby boomers, where the American mind, or the American consciousness, was split into an objective viewpoint of the world and a subjective viewpoint of the world. And that is still going on today. We say today, truth is subjective. Truth used to be objective. Well, in the 50s, truth was objective. It was out there. Truth was evidentially proven, even if truth hurt. You read it in the newspapers. The trinity of the three networks, ABC, CBS, NBC. The anchors all reported on the same objective world. There was no alternative world or reality, no alternative values. It was a solid external view, objective view of the world as being out there, and journalism reported on it. And you could agree or disagree, but nobody suggested that there was what you saw was not real. And after the 60s, during the 60s and after, it all changed. It began with the shock of JFK. That was the Twin Towers. That was the shock that split the American psyche. And then the civil rights. And then the Vietnam War. You can't imagine how tumultuous the 60s was. You thought the world was coming to an end. Cities were burning. The National Guard shot students on Ohio State right out there on the sidewalk. Cities were burning, marching, everything. It was tumultuous. And then you had the 70s, which was a crazy decade of ambiguity. Didn't know if the rock stars came up and they were androgynous rock stars. Everything was ambiguous. Talk about trans. I mean, the rock star role model, the rock star was both male and female. The rock star was a Shiva, was a mythological figure who danced on opposites, on male and female. So the rock star couldn't tell if he was male or female. And dress and fashion shifted. Where did all the coats and ties go? Women, the fashion shifted. It was an ambiguous, androgynous decade. But then conservatism came in and put a stop to that. Reagan came in, conservatives came in, and to restore law and order, to get rid of the ambiguity to make everything conservative, secure, and safe, you see. All this androgyny and that's why trans is such a threat now. See, trans is androgyny, ambiguous, male or female, I don't know. So that's why the right is so threatened by trans, because it's a crack in their logic of right and wrong behavior. Trans is neither male or female. It's like the 70s. It's a threat to the order, you see. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the baby boomers and the fissure in the American psyche that began in the 60s and continues today. It was patriotic to be drafted and go to war. It was patriotic to follow your conscience. You see, here's the split. Conscience is subjective. Duty is objective. And World War II, nobody, if you objected conscientiously to the war, I mean, you made a movie about it, Heartbreak Ridge. You know, conscientious acceptor was like, he was tarred and feathered. It was an affront to patriotism to not go to war. World War II, objective truth. 60s, subjective truth came in. Well, it's not. It's immoral. This war is immoral. So I'm not going. I'm going to follow my conscience, you see. That's subjective. Objective is, fuck your conscience. It's duty to go to war. Do your duty, you see. That's objective. Subjectives, I don't believe that's right. I'm not going to go. So this split, you see, is continuing today in different forms, and even the sides are shifting. MAGA is the hippies of the 60s. MAGA is the revolt of the baby boomers in the 60s. MAGA is against the government. The hippies were against the government. See? The revolt against the government and its objective truth was the hallmark of the 60s. And MAGA is a revolt against the government for a subjective truth. And Trump is subjective truth. In other words, to hell with evidence. If Trump says it's true, it's true. And so I believe in Trump. So what I believe is true. And truth makes me feel good. But objective truth makes you feel bad. Well, that can't be true. You see, so objective truth is cruel. It's the facts. It's the evidence. It's like courtrooms. Courtrooms are justice is based in objective truth. Evidence. You got to have evidence. You can't convict somebody on subjective truth. Well, he didn't feel like he did it, so he didn't do it. You got to have evidence, you see. So Justice Department, justice is our last stand of objective truth. And it's being eroded. It's being attacked from within, you see. The Supreme Court is dominated by subjective truth. Well, I don't feel this is right, so we'll make it wrong. You see, the evidence says this is wrong, but I believe this is right. Anyway, I'm running out of time. So think about that for a moment. The baby boomers' last stand, no King's Day. And they were there at the beginning. Hopefully, they're here at the end. Thanks for dropping in.